Welcome everyone. Today I would like to present for you important information about category of students, which I believe that they are investment for all nations, and as teachers we should pay a strong attention for them. Let me first start my talking with a famous quote for George Orwell, who once said, "Myths that are believed and tend to become true." When we hear the word myth, the first thing come to our mind narrative or old stories such as Shakespeare's play King Arthur. But in fact, also in the field of education, gifted students have been surrounded by some myths which could destroy their giftedness. The belief on these myths between teachers can lead to make these myths become true. Therefore, the title of this presentation is Mythology Surrounding Giftedness. This presentation is designed in hope to help explore how these myths affect gifted students. This slide shows the outline of this presentation. It will firstly be the introduction for each myth. After that, it will discuss how and why each one emerged. Thirdly, it will discuss the effects of the three myths on gifted students. Fourthly, it will offer a rebuttal for each myth. Finally, it will be the conclusion. Let us now start with the first myth. Myth 1 is saying that the gifted and talented constitute one single homogeneous group, and giftedness is a way of being that stays in the person over time and experience. I would like to divide this myth into two parts. The first part is the gifted and talented homogeneous group. The second part is giftedness is a way of being that stays in the person over time and experience. The first part means people believe that gifted students have one traits and no variation in their abilities and personality. In another word, they look like each other's. The second part means that when people believe giftedness stays, this leads to the idea that giftedness could not be developed and it is fixed. If teachers tend to believe in this myth, it can lead to many negative effects on gifted students. However, let us now ask how and why has this myth emerged in the first place? Firstly, this myth emerged in the early years of the 20th century. It is based on the notions that giftedness is associated with high IQ, so people believe that giftedness should be measured by traditional methods such as IQ test. Also, old assumptions between parents and educators have fostered this myth. For example, that all gifted students have scholastic ability. That means that they should show high performance in school subjects. Finally, this myth emerged because some teachers, they may not consider many effects such as hunger, poverty in family environment, or lack of stimulation in school environment, which can hide their giftedness, and as a result, many of students not classified as gifted. If teachers tend to believe in this myth, so what are the effects of this myth on gifted students? If this myth said that gifted students are one group, therefore it does not look to the several domains of giftedness. In fact, gifted students can be gifted in arts or in leadership areas, so this myth look at all gifted students that they have the same personality or traits and no variation in their abilities. Secondly, it does not consider the different understanding of giftedness in several societies and cultures. For example, Latino kids are gifted in having amazing survival skills and may not show good performance in IQ tests. And these 2 points will lead teachers who believed in this myth to limit the number of gifted students who should be involved in special classes and prevent them from receiving their needs. Furthermore, this myth does not take into account the environmental factors, which include culture, teachers, family, curriculum, and peers, which have been mentioned in current studies such as Gainey's differentiated model of giftedness and talented. Therefore, teachers may not encourage to do extra efforts because of the belief on this myth. that giftedness could not be developed even with a positive environment because it is something fixed at birth. Despite these negative effects, however, Bittig 2009 argues that this myth can affect gifted students positively. They can be grouped together based on a test score such as IQ tests. They will be free from peer pressure, and that can lead them to gain advanced academic and social skills. As a result of my analysis, this myth is clearly false. Therefore, let us move to the next slide. Since I divided the myth into two parts, then it comes sense to divide my rebuttal for this myth into two parts. Rebuttal for the first part is: Rees and Brinzoli, 2009, emphasized that this myth is potentially dangerous and false myth. They state that there is nothing like a single homogeneous group of gifted students. They are diverse and varied group, which means that there is no one pattern for them, as some people believe, because they vary in traits and characteristics, and they are different in their abilities and potential. Furthermore, they vary in their traits based on various factors such as culture factors or whether a student is achieving or underachieving. My rebuttal for the second part is, well, I believe that the best rebuttal of this part is Gainey's DMGT model, which considers that gifts can be developed into talents by providing gifted students a chance to develop their natural abilities into talents through important factors such as environmental and interpersonal factors. For example, increasing motivation by giving students a challenging environment or work experience can give a chance for interpersonal catalysts to be motivated in these students. That can lead to discover and develop their talents. So it is clear that the DMGT model can provide an effective evidence that giftedness is developed. It is not something fixed at birth. And now let us move to the next myth. The second myth is gifted and talented individuals do not have unique social and emotional needs. This myth means that some teachers lead to believe that gifted students do not have social and emotional needs based on the assumption that teaching gifted students is easier and these students show high achievement and doing fine in the classroom. Also, some counselors who foster this myth may forget that these gifted students are at the end like other children who can suffer from illness, peer conflict, and neglect. Let us now discuss how and why myth 2 emerged. According to Peterson 2009, this myth was fostered by some teachers who allowed for the positive stereotype about gifted students to prevail in the academic field, such as they are always motivated and confident students, and one of the reasons it could be that teachers are not challenging them. They show that they are fine in all given tasks, and that make teachers build this positive stereotype on gifted students. Also, some federal education mandates have not to promote the education of gifted students, and that has affected the impression of school communities about the social and the emotional needs for gifted students. Finally, in 2009, Peterson stated that parents and educators are unaware that the asynchronous development is unusual in gifted students. The cognitive development is growing faster than the social and emotional development in gifted students. Thus, this uniqueness of the gifted students requires modification in parenting, teaching, and counseling in order for them to develop optimally. If teachers tend to believe in this myth, so what are the effects on gifted students? It is clear that this myth has no positive effects because all children, whether they are gifted or not, they require social and emotional needs. Hence, let me discuss the negative effects. Firstly, a low attention towards these needs will lead these gifted students to fail in expressing their needs. because the school may not offer for them chances such as consultations classes to express their social and emotional needs. Secondly, if the curriculum in schools is not helping on developing social skills, it will become difficult for gifted students to transit from one education level to another because they may have social concerns which prevent them to interact with the educational environment in a school. Thirdly, in addition, according to Peterson, 2009, this myth has contributed poor response from teachers and counselors to the social and emotional needs because they would prefer to focus on the academic performance of gifted students. As a result of neglecting their social and emotional needs, a degree of risks could be increased in gifted students such as feeling of frustration, low self-esteem, isolation, negative social behavior, and more. It could suggest that gifted students might have special needs because they may have mental concerns such as some gifted who have Asperger's disorder, and these gifted for sure have unique social and emotional needs. After realizing the negative effects of myth 2 on gifted students, it's clear that this myth is false. So let me offer rebuttal from different research. According to the Indiana Department of Education 2012, gifted students do have additional social and emotional needs compared with non-gifted students. For example, the gifted students have increased capacity to think beyond years, which means strong memory and unique thinking, and they have unique interests such as discovering what's happening in the world around them. These trends indicate how gifted students have unique needs. In addition, this myth not consider the twice exceptional of gifted students. They strongly have unique social and emotional needs. These group need from teachers and counselors a balanced attention for their strengths and disabilities. Otherwise, it can lead to negative effects in their social and emotional development, such as feeling of low self-esteem, frustration, and leading them to underachievement. Some schools may not be receptive to gifted students, which means that educators do not value the needs of the gifted students, such as their need of challenging environment, special educational classes, consultations, because they recognize that all that will require from them extra efforts and high funding. So if schools do not value gifted students' needs, we can see increasing in social and emotional discomfort for the most part of gifted students' school years. In addition, a study by University of Notre Dame indicates that the social context should be included in the learning environment. For example, learning in a group inside the class can teach gifted students some effective social skills like cooperation, respecting each other, and these skills can help them in building their relation with their peers, and that can promote their self-concept. Now let us move to the last myth, which is high ability students do not face problems and challenges. Moon 2009 argues that this myth is closely related to the myth 2. Myth 2 indicates that gifted students do face several problems and challenges in the emotional social realm. But the third myth will focus on gifted students, whether they face challenges and problems in developing their talents. This myth assumes that gifted students are so protected from problems such as social needs or academic needs because of their high ability. Now, how and why myth 3 has emerged? Figure 1 shows the three main factors that support this myth. Firstly, gifted students enjoy school and tend to achieve easily high results compared with their peers in the classroom. They show they don't need assistance, which lead to hide their problems and challenges from school personnel. Secondly, some parents tend to believe in this myth because they prefer to ignore the needs of their gifted child. They may have concerns about the resources and funding that could be required in developing their child's talent. Furthermore, policymakers would prefer to foster this myth also because it simplifies resources. Their thoughts: if gifted students do not face challenges, they do not need resources and funding, and this way they can provide students with difficulties with these resources. After discussing the reasons that have fostered this myth, let's see if teachers tend to believe in this myth. What are the effects of this myth on gifted students? In fact, this myth fosters the lack of importance of motivation and challenges in teaching gifted students. Teacher may understand that the reaction of gifted students, such as showing high receptive of the lesson and demonstrate high abilities in performing, that they are fine in the classroom, but in fact, because teachers are not challenging them, and that will lead them to feel boredom and will high rates of underachievement and school dropouts in their future. According also to Moon 2009, there are many subpopulation of gifted students that face additional challenges and problems in developing their talents, such as gifted students of color and gifted females. For example, gifted female in Arabian culture face problem because of the stereotype threats, such as our society give females less chance in education compared with our males. In addition, the highly intellectually of gifted students face problems in finding social and educational environment that can provide them challenging, accepting them, and can develop their talents. Finally, the twice exceptional of gifted students suffer from several challenges in their schools, such as a lack of accurate identification that can lead them to underachievement. Also, when teachers are over-focusing on their disability more than their strength, that can damage their sense of self-confidence. Therefore, according to the negative effects, this myth clearly has no positive effects because the belief on this myth can lead to many problems on gifted students. Hence, my rebuttal for this myth: Indiana Department of Education 2012 state that gifted students do face several issues such as peer pressure. They feel different from their peers because of their advanced ability, that let their peers may feel jealous, and that make gifted students trying to fit with their less academic peers by failing in their academic achievement. Secondly, they face a problem in developing social relationship with the same age peers. They can experience difficulties in finding like-minded peers. Thirdly, they face problems and challenges in dealing with the stress. They stress from the high expectations and demands of self and from others, such as parents and teachers, which can lead to frustration. Gifted students can experience social and emotional problems which can lead to several issues, such as underachievement, as we mentioned in the previous slides, the development of false self, and that because they prefer to hide their high abilities in school to show a false personality that make them more acceptable from their peers. And if they fail to accept themselves, that could lead them to suffer from depression. Thus, it is clear that gifted students do face problems and challenges in developing their talent. In conclusion, the presentation tried to support the findings of researchers who have offered information that rebut the three myths which have been mentioned, and this presentation concludes that these three myths need to be avoided to eliminate the underlying stereotypes and assumptions regarding gifted students. Thank you.